You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 144.1, our daily scoreboard show for high school, college, and professional sports in Central Indiana.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and what a day it is. Whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report, we hope you're having the best day ever. Today is January 11th, 2025. It's a Saturday, so it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. And by that, we mean every single day. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, and I love Central Indiana sports. Coming to you today from headquarters in Jeffersonville, producer Susie is in the control room. We have a new format again. Here's one thing I think and one thing I know. I think the new format will improve the Central Indiana Sports Report. The thing I know is it will be much easier and less demanding on me, and that's important. So every evening and sometimes the following morning, I'll release our daily scoreboard with high school and college results and highlights in Blackford, Delaware, Grant, Howard, Madison, Tipton, and northern Hamilton counties. Plus IU, Purdue, Ball State, the Pacers, Colts, IndyCar, the Fever, other stuff like Butler, and of course, major national sporting events like the NFL playoffs and the college football playoffs. Whatever I have, I will pass on to you. Again, those will be released anytime between 11 p.m. and 9 a.m. Like, it could be as late as 9 a.m. if I'm behind or just being lazy. Every single day. And we will continue to do reports on all of our high school sports on a close to daily basis. Plus, regular reports on any significant sports team in Central Indiana. I will continue to work on this almost every single hour of my life because I love doing it. I just need to make things a little bit easier on myself. Most nights I will have a co-host. Today, I do not. The scoreboard will go in order of the Central Indiana Sports Report's priorities. That's usually high school sports, but not always. Today we have updates from high school wrestling and basketball from Friday, the college football playoffs and another Pacers win, plus a look at a busy day ahead in college basketball. And in the inaugural Central Indiana Sports Report Daily Scoreboard Show, we start with girls wrestling. Daleville's Kylie Keffer, Eastbrook's Haley Corporal, and Pendleton Heights' Maddie Marsh won regional championships at Alexandria on Friday, the first ever girls wrestling regional, the first ever official one, the first ever IHSAA girls regional. Frankton's Jaden Hughes and Marion's Alana Montgomery were runners-up, and Lapel's Paige Steyer and the Westdale duo of Paisley Chambers and Sophie Gropp also advanced to state, which will be next Friday at the Indianapolis Coliseum, and Michelle Garman of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader and I will be there to do a live podcast, and we will interview as many of the wrestlers as we possibly can. We will also have updates and interviews and a state finals preview coming up this week for girls wrestling. And we will have a live scoreboard show from the state finals in Indianapolis. Franklin Central won the team championship over Jay County and Warren Central in the first IHSA Girls Regional. Westdale finished 11th, Carmel was 12th, Pendleton Heights 13th, Daleville 14th, Eastbrook finished 16th, Marion 18th, Frankton was 20th, Lapel 27th, Anderson 29th, Blackford 31st, and Alexandria, Cowan, Madison-Grant, Yorktown, and Fishers all scored 4 points. Western was third as a team at Rochester, behind only champion New Haven and runner-up Columbia City. Hamilton Heights finished 5th, Kokomo was 18th, and Tipton 23rd. Western advanced 4 wrestlers to state. Freshman Jade Johnson is the 145-pound regional champion. Also advancing for the Panthers to state, Ava Rowe, Rebecca McGuire, and Reagan McGuire. Hamilton Heights Kendall Moe was the 105-pound champion, and her teammate Zoe Pugh fell just short in the championship match in a 5-3 loss to McCutcheon's Elia McLean at 120 pounds. Tipton's Emerson Atkins was runner-up at 170, and Kokomo's Brielle Henderson finished second at 235 pounds. Of course, they will both be at state on Friday. Again, we will hear from many of these athletes in the coming week and on Friday's Central Indiana Sports Report. And I will have our wrestling report from the girls' wrestling regionals at Alexandria and Rochester. Actually, we'll take a look at all 4 of the regionals just as soon as I get it done on Saturday. To boys basketball, Alexandria beat Elwood 62-37 for 7th place in Madison County. The rest of the boys' final round, including the championship game between Liberty Christian and Anderson at Anderson, has been moved to Monday evening. Frankton and Pendleton Heights will play at 6. Anderson Prep and LaPel will play for 5th place at Elwood. Blackford opened its 2025 schedule with a 57-43 win over Madison-Grant to improve to 3-0 in the CIC. I had a nice conversation with Blackford head coach Aaron Daniels on Friday evening. We will have that in our next boys basketball report. Trey Page scored 29 points in Sheridan's 66-50 Hoosier Heartland win over Tri-Central. Kokomo beat Logansport by 59 points, 106-45 for its 4th straight win. That's the second time Kokomo's reached the century mark this year. Muncie Central lost its NCC opener 53-37 at home against Lafayette Jeff. Daleville won for the second time in 4 games after a 66-21 Mid-Eastern Conference win over Cowan. In the Lafayette area, McCutcheon and Lafayette Central are both 6-5 after the Mavericks beat the Knights 44-39. Newcastle beat Richmond 57-53. In the Three Rivers Conference, Rochester got off to a hot start and beat Whitco 60-44. The Zebras are 6-2. Guerin Catholic won its 5th in a row, 71-34 over Chittard. The following games were postponed because of the snow on Friday. Peru at Oak Hill and the big Hoosier Heritage Showdown between New Pal and Delta were moved from Friday night to Saturday. Both games will start at 7:30. Marion and Carmel moved to Friday, January 17th. The 6-3 Giants are at home Saturday against 8-3 Fort Wayne Southside. Yorktown will visit Westfield on Tuesday, January 21st. Taylor will now play at Rossville on Tuesday, February 18th. Tipton at McConaughey, Hamilton Heights at Northwestern, and Wapahani's home game against Eastern Hancock have been postponed with no updated makeup date that I could find. And we'll have more on all of this on our next boys basketball report whenever I can get it done. To girls basketball, Sheridan is 14-1 overall and 5-0 in the HHC after a 63-33 win over Tri-Central. Marion got one of its best wins of the year, 51-40 over Richmond. Freshman Naomi Hahn and Jaylee Townsend scored 15 points apiece in the win. Michaela Drake scored 19 points in Kokomo's 66-24 win over Logansport. Lafayette Jeff picked up a 59-23 NCC win over Muncie Central. And Daleville beat Cowan 58-21 for the Broncos' 4th win in a row and their 6th win in their last 7 games. Postponements from Friday night. The battle between 2 coaches who were legendary players. Taylor's Tiffany Longworth Boroff takes on Rossville's Jennifer Jacoby at 1 o'clock Saturday after being postponed on Friday. And Mississinawa at Manchester has been moved to Saturday at 2:30. We will have more on all of that on our next girls basketball report and on Monday's girls basketball week in review, which will probably be out Tuesday morning. A quick look at Saturday's schedule. Pendleton Heights and Frankton will play for the girls Madison County Championship at Frankton at 7:30. There are 3 noon games Saturday. Madison-Grant hosts Southwood, Yorktown hosts Shelbyville in a big HHC battle. Western and Benton Central play in Rushville. Snyder goes to Kokomo, and Marion hosts Fort Wayne Southside. Of course, as always, weather pending. In boys basketball, the games that are already scheduled, all of them are scheduled for 6 p.m. JV with the varsity to follow. Tipton visits Bethesda Christian. Tri-Central hosts Westdale. Hamilton Heights is at Frankton. Logansport hosts Western. Northwestern visits Clinton Prairie. Blackford goes to South Adams. Sheridan is at Rossville in a key Hoosier Heartland contest. Also, Peru is at Oak Hill, and New Pal Delta were rescheduled from Friday to Saturday, as I said earlier. In local swimming, Elwood, Frankton, and Hamilton Heights compete in a 3-way meet at 10 a.m. at Hamilton Heights. Yorktown, Delta, and Pendleton Heights will compete in the Hoosier Heritage Conference Championship at New Pal at 9 a.m. The NCC will take place at Lafayette Jeff at 10 a.m. Oak Hill and Lapeller at the J County Invitational at 9 a.m. In boys wrestling Saturday, Tipton hosts the Tipton Invitational. They will welcome Noblesville, Sheridan, Northwestern, Pendleton Heights, and Indianapolis Lutheran. Madison-Grant is at the East Noble Invitational. Oak Hill is at an invitational at Peru. Mississinawa and Marion go to the Huntington North Invitational. That's at 9 a.m. Hamilton Heights and Muncie Central go to an invitational at New Haven at 9 a.m. Lapel is at the Garin Catholic Invitational, also at 9 a.m. And also at 9 a.m., Alexandria and Yorktown are at the IHSWCA Team State Meet at Jay County. And Western Gymnastics is at the Logansport Pairs at noon. In the college football playoffs, Ohio State held off Texas in a 28-14 victory in the Cotton Bowl to set up a January 20th showdown between the Buckeyes and Notre Dame in the national championship game in New Orleans. Ryan Robinson reacted to the Buckeyes' thrilling victory and the national championship matchup on segment. In the NBA, the Pacers won their 5th straight game with a 108-96 win over the Golden State Warriors. Tyrese Halliburton had 25 points, 10 assists, and 3 steals. The Pacers are now 21-18 and in 6th place in the East, a half game behind Orlando in 5th, and a half game ahead of Miami in 7th. I expect to hear from Mike Rich on the win. Look for Mike Rich reacts to the Pacers' 108-96 win over the Warriors, episode 144.6. The NFL playoffs start Saturday with the Chargers at Texans at 4:30. Then the Steelers and Ravens play at 8 in a huge, huge wild card game. There are 3 games Sunday in the wild card round. Denver at Buffalo at 1. The Packers and Eagles at 4:30, and Washington goes to Tampa at 8. The Vikings and Rams play Monday night. Keep an eye out for Quick Picks with Greg and Will, episode 144.6. Expect that sometime around noon on Saturday. IU goes to Iowa on Saturday at 8 p.m. in the Big Ten. The Hoosiers improved to 8-3 overall and 4-1 in the Big Ten, with an 82-69 win over USC on Wednesday. Iowa is 11-4 and 2-2 in the conference after a 97-87 overtime win over Nebraska on Tuesday. At 4-1, IU is tied with Illinois and Purdue in 3rd place. Michigan State and Michigan are the only Big Ten unbeatens. They are both 4-0. The IU-Iowa game is on Fox. Purdue won its fourth straight game, 68-50 at Rutgers on Thursday, behind Braden Smith's 16 points, 14 assists, 3 steals, and 3 rebounds. Best player in the country. The number 19 Boilermakers host 12-3 Nebraska Sunday. 7-7 Ball State goes to 6-8 Bowling Green Saturday at 2. That game is on ESPN Plus. Both teams are looking to break out of the middle of the MAC pack. Fresh off their upset of Indiana Wesleyan on Wednesday, 10-6 Taylor plays 5-1 Goshen at 3 p.m. in Upland. Taylor is 3-3 in the Crossroads League, and Goshen is the only winless team in conference play. Indiana Wesleyan plays Mount Vernon Nazarene in Mount Vernon, Ohio at 3. The 11-5 Wildcats are 1-5 in the Crossroads. Mount Vernon Nazarene is 10-6 overall and 2-4 in the conference. After back-to-back road wins over Transylvania and Bluffton, 10-3 Anderson returns home against Mount St. Joseph's at 3 p.m. in a Heartland contest at O.C. Lewis. The Ravens are 5-1 in conference play and 6-0 at home. The Lions are 7-6 overall and 3-3 in the Heartland. IUK is 11-4 heading into Saturday's home game against 1-14 IU Columbus. The game is at 2 in Kokomo. Later Saturday, we will have our wrestling report with girls wrestling regional results. Sometime in the next couple days, we'll have our next girls basketball report and our boys basketball report with a conversation with Blackford head coach Aaron Daniels. And now you know everything that we know about Central Indiana sports. Thanks for listening. Please go right now and like, subscribe, or follow us at Amazon, Apple, SoundCloud, Spotify, or YouTube so you do not miss a single segment. You have no idea how important it is to us that you do that. Also, if you like the Central Indiana Sports Report, please tell a friend. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And let's use it.